computer. Hey, my name's Jared Wilson, and I make millions of dollars a year buying and selling houses, and I just want to show you how to do it too. So right now I'm sitting here with my best friend, Mike Bruce. Oh, he's gone. That's
I'm
right.
here. I had to shut the door.
Oh man. And yeah, so we've been working off and on together for maybe I don't know, a year or so, and he just decided to go all in. He's my partner now, so we're gonna kill it with real estate, starting a new business line with him, and I'm just kind of bringing him up to speed. So recently, Mike, you put out some signs. Is that what you did?
hmm
Yeah. So how many signs did you get out?
Got out about 100.
Nice. It's a good first round, and getting a trickle of seller calls. And so we just need to go over how to talk with the seller. So that initial call, that incoming call from the seller, I call that the triage call. I actually got that from my good friend Brad Smotherman. Brilliant to call it that. It kind of has this idea of like when you go into the hospital, the first person you're going to see is like the triage nurse. And so their job is just to ascertain, like, okay, is this urgent? Is this person going to the front of the line? Like, oh my gosh, if we don't see them in the next 10 minutes, they're going to die. Or did they really come in for a cold and they're just kind of working our hospital system, not as it was intended? So they go to the bottom of the line, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to triage the seller. So we do have a script for that. It's very scripty, okay? And you don't have to memorize how this script works. This was designed for our virtual assistants to give them like a framework. What I do is I have a broad outline. And so once you super learn the script, then you know that you can just mix and match the pieces in the order that they naturally come up. They don't have to follow this order. Okay. So let me share my screen. So here is the triage script. And let's see, how do I make this bigger? My gosh, it's kind of tiny. Um, let's see. How do we make this bigger? I use Google Word. I hate these Google Docs stuff.
Down in the right corner, there should be a
Yeah,
magnifying
if it was
glass.
a Word doc, oh, man, it's frustrating. Okay, well, let's just blow up the font size.
Use your scroller.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess I should have checked on that. Here, let's see, insert, tools, help. Should have thought about that. Right there, there it is.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. Everything's just slightly different with Google Docs. Okay, so here we go. Here's the opener. So when you answer the phone, okay, I always answer with my name. Hello, this is Jared. And there's like, oh, I'm calling them, I saw a sign or something like that. And so your first question, the actual opener question is, so tell me a little bit about the house and kind of what you have going on with it. So you always pause. And so what you've done is you've just asked two questions. And so the idea is let's just see which direction they take the call. So first one is, so tell me a little bit about the house. That's maybe they'll start launching into repairs, bedroom, baths. And the second one is, and what you have going on with it. So that's what is the situation. Now you're going to get to both of these, but it's just interesting to see which direction the seller chooses. If they're super motivated, they typically go into the pain, they go into the problem, which is ultimately what we're trying to figure out. We need to know the basics. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what's the condition of the property, what's the address. But we're really trying to figure out what's their motivation. Because remember, you can only do business with a motivated seller. What's a motivated seller? It's somebody who has a problem in their life that they need to solve, and solving that problem is more important than the equity in their home. Okay, so I'll repeat that. So a motivated seller is somebody who they have a problem in their life that they need to solve, and solving that problem is much more important than the price that they get on the house or the terms that they receive on selling their house. Okay, so that's who we do business with. So at any given point, there's maybe, I don't know, 2 to 3% of the population that needs to sell their house is a motivated seller. Realtors do not serve that population. They serve the other 97%, and they are the best person for that. You You do the whole rigmarole, listing the house, getting it ready for sale, making it look nice, make sure you have no title problems, listing on the house, waiting the average days on market and getting the average sales price, whatever the market will bear at the moment. Some people that doesn't work for. Some people, I mean, they're going to foreclosure in 6 days, so they don't have time because they just sat on their hands. They waited. Some people have title problems. They need somebody like us to fix it. Some people have a hoarder house and it's just, no one can get in to see it. Some people have a tenant won't pay the rent house. And so the tenant's hostile and they just need to sell and get out from underneath it. There's all kinds of situations. And we help people out of those situations. So here we are. Here's a triage script. So from here, you're going to let them talk. Now we have this alternate opener. This is for the VAs if they were making outbound calls. They kind of have to orient to even find out if someone's willing to talk to them. Okay, great. My name is blah blah blah. Just calling you about your house on 123 Main Street. How are you today? And then we tell them a little bit about who we are. And then right here, we would have launched into the opener if they made it that far. So they're interested in talking. Okay. So the idea is that you're going to take notes. Take notes of everything the seller says. This is your opportunity. Hey, just be a good listener. Build rapport with the seller. So if they launched in about the actual property itself, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, then it's natural you can ask about what are the repairs, what are the updates. You need to know what's the deal with the kitchen, what's the deal with the bathrooms, the roof, this kind of stuff. Don't make it weird. Like this is not an inquisition. Okay, you don't have 50 questions for these people. They'll get tired out, right? You want to be having a conversation. So when it's natural to ask, if they start talking about the roof, then that's a natural time to ask, well, how old is the roof? That kind of thing. Okay. Oh, what else? This is just a leading question. Keep it moving. They're describing more things that need to be done to the house. Okay. Here is a really good question. Okay. Is that it? Can you think of anything else the house needs? Any kind of upgrades it would need for a new buyer? So it's kind of planting the seed that like a new buyer is going to want upgrades. Okay. So at this point, they've explained perhaps they went into the condition of the house. They could have though started with the situation they're in which case you can flow with this script and ask about the repairs to the house, or whenever it's natural, whenever they mention something to the effect of, while they're talking about, oh, it has 3 bedrooms, it has 2 baths, this was my Aunt Sally's house. And, Aunt Sally passed away. Boom. Now they're talking about their situation. So push on that, pull on that string. Don't keep talking about the repairs. You can come back. Ask, oh, were you close to Aunt Sally? You just keep asking leading questions. Oh, is that why you're wanting to sell the house? Did you inherit this? Tell me what's going on. So we're going to get to all of the points at some point, but you're going to do it in whatever the natural fashion is. So this is typically hard for our virtual assistants in the past to understand because they want to take people down this exact path. And then what does it feel like? It feels like a script, feels like an inquisition. You're not doing that. You're having a conversation with bullet points that you eventually make it to. Okay. Here's a natural way. Okay. Is there a mortgage on the house? So a way that you can ask a great thing is, so if they say that they have a mortgage, you can say, oh, so is the mortgage current or is it a little bit behind? Good for it. That should be in here. If it's not, we failed. That's literally the question. So I'm sure it's in here in this mortgage question somewhere. So you're just asking them. That's like a key, really good way. And did you see how I lowered the tone of my voice? Oh, is it current or is it a little bit behind? It's like we're having a private conversation. We're talking amongst friends here. So it could be like massive behind. Like they haven't made a payment in 3 years and they'll say, oh, it's just a little bit behind. And if they say yes, then you say, oh, okay. So how much is behind? Do you, are we talking 10K, 20K? You're just trying to inquire. You're just trying to pull on that thread. That thread comes up, you pull on the thread. We're going to get to the debt section at some point. You need to know condition. You need to know the situation. You need to know the debt. Okay. And, here's some questions to ask. You're trying to figure out how much is it? Oh, here we go. Is the house current or is it a little bit behind? Okay. Let's see. Another question, big section. So how soon are you needing to sell? You can say, or how soon are you needing to sell the house? Or we know we're talking about the house. So how soon are you needing to sell? Oh, as soon as possible. Okay. Is that less than 30 days, more than 30 days? You're trying to nail them down, right? You're trying to figure out what are they really trying to do? Okay. Here's something. If by this time you still haven't gotten to the situation, sounds like a great house. Why would you want to get rid of it so quickly? Okay, so you're trying to pull on, at some point, you got to pull on the thread of why. Um, let's see. They may say they need money for a new house, moving expenses. Okay, how much is that? Write it down. Sounds like you like to be done with this. Is that right? So this is kind of setting it up for a subject to close.
Hmm.
This question, right? If it's free and clear, you can still ask this, but you'll probably get the answer. I'm not trying to give it away. We get that a lot. So I'm not saying I can yet because I have to take this back to my team. But if we can go in and take all of everything, we handle the closing costs. We can close in 30 days or less. We take care of the mortgage. Would that give you what you need? It's a closing question. We're trying to eventually get to a number. We're trying to find out, what are they asking for the place? So if the seller can't say what they want, but they still have a mortgage, here's a good question. Are you just trying to get what you owe and just get out from underneath the payments? See how I asked that? It's a lot of it's tone. You just have to build that over time. Let's see. If this case, they're like, okay, it's nice to speak to you. Or perhaps they're like, no, this property's worth way more than that. Oh, well, how much were you hoping to walk away with? You're going to ask multiple times, what are they trying to walk away with? Just trying to figure that out. Okay. And then let's say they say a number. Okay, now I am paying the closing costs. Is that the least you would take? Now we're asking again for them to lower it. Basically, they're negotiating with themselves. So maybe, they wanted 30,000 to walk away. I am paying the closing costs. Is that the least you would take? Well, I could do 25. Well, I am buying it as is, You don't have to do any work. Is that the lowest you would go? Well, I mean, I don't know. I could think about it. Okay, so just to be sure, if we come up with an offer that's below what you were looking for, would you even be interested in us calling you back to discuss it? So we just asked for price reduction in a third way right there. So you're writing down their responses, okay? You're just seeing where everything's at. Okay, so hey, well, it was good with you. It was good to chat with you today. Let me talk with my team and I'll give you a call back later today. So you can do some research, give them a call. Or if it's a super hot motivated seller, I mean, my gosh, you probably want to set that appointment right then and there. Or perhaps you'll move into the closing script, which is, another script for another time. But anyway, that's an overview. You got any questions or thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, on the questions on trying to get the price a little bit lower, are you asking all three of those questions, or are you kind of just picking from those?
Yeah. I'm asking all of those.
Okay.
Unless it's weird. So if they give you massive pushback right here, maybe I'm asking just one more. Maybe I skip to this last one. Okay, so just to be sure, if we come up with an offer that's below what you're looking for at this moment, you wouldn't even want us to call you back. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the wording on that. You wouldn't even be interested in us calling back to discuss it, is that right? Okay.
That's, I mean, it's, you notice I slightly alter the language a little bit.
Yeah, and I noticed how
It's not gospel.
you kind of have a line into different types of deals too, it seems like. So we may be doing, fixing a broken title or doing a subject to, just depending on how the deal sits.
Well,
We're
yes.
trying to see like what we're doing here.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to hear me with triage with that seller yesterday. So
Mm-hmm.
the conversation got tailored to meet his situation. So he had an airship. Remember, he was inheriting that house with his 5 other brothers and sisters, with one of them dead, who
That's gonna be a
means
big.
means the kids, that brother's kids would inherit, as well as the other 2 kids that had the other half of the house. I mean, it was a total mess. And so a lot of that was just giving him a heavy dose of reality and
Mhm.
just telling him exactly where it's at. I'm gonna turn off this screen sharing here. What other thoughts that you had, or questions that came up?
Um, let me think. You get folks from time to time. I know I'm going to run into this, where you're talking to them and they've mentioned that they're already talking to somebody else, or that they're already, hey, I had another investor come talk to me, and they kind of said what you're saying, or they're gonna, they said that they're gonna come up with an offer for my house just to buy it. So when you come into contact with somebody who's already in the works or talking with another investor, kind of how would you approach that?
Yeah. So here's what I would do. So I would say, oh, well, what did they offer you? Oh, they didn't make me an offer. Oh, so they're not that serious. They're just kind of thinking about it. Is that right? So we just, poured cold water on that other person. Let's say they said, oh, they offered me 250. Oh, seems like a great offer. Why didn't you take that? And you see what the seller says. Maybe the seller says, well, I'm just looking for my options. I was like, well, 250. I mean, that's a great offer. I would take that. Go ahead. I would suggest you go ahead and take that right now. I'm not sure I can even touch that. I said, now, please keep me in mind if and when they don't close, because I'll tell you what's going on a lot right now. That person is probably somebody called a wholesaler. Do you know what a wholesaler is? Oh no, I've never heard of a wholesaler. Okay, so what they do is they just go around. And now I'm going to pour cold water on this other guy. Well, they go around and they just get contracts with sellers at whatever price that they think they can nail you down with, and then they turn around and they try to find an investor who actually has money to close, and so they'll try to sell it for, if they you said he offered you 250, well, maybe he thinks he can get 255 with another investor. It's like, the problem is, you'll be banking, you'll start packing and moving, thinking that this is sold, this is a done deal. And then he calls you 2 days before closing and is like, sorry, couldn't get it sold, couldn't get the investor to come through. So I'm not going to be able to close. And then they leave you high and dry. It's happened way more times than I can count. So, got to be honest with you. If you think this 250 is real, you should absolutely take it. Be sure to ask for a lot of earnest money. Do you know what earnest money is? Oh, what's that? Well, that's where they put money up saying they're serious. Now, we have cash in the bank. We're ready to go. So if we're able to figure something out, if you decide to work with us, we're going to close, and we're going to close quickly. Okay. We actually have in-house title people that, we're going to review what's going on with the title, and we can close in as little as 48 hours. Most people can't do that. The reason why we can is because we literally have cash ready to go to honor our commitments. Now, I don't think that I could get anywhere close to that 250, but if you want to talk, then, we could. So I just made it like, oh man, beware of this guy. If you think it's real, go with it. Hit it up. Let me know, if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So totally what I was doing, reverse sale. Total reverse. that was like massively pulling back, showing, status to the seller and just saying, hey, whatever's best for you, go ahead. It doesn't affect me. I got plenty of other deals.
Now, and I also, because I know the deal that we looked at, it's 50% interest to the sister-in-law that died on the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then 50% interest among the 5 brothers.
Yep.
So now I know that seminar that you sent me, he mentioned that one of the things he'll do is if it's a issue of dividing up the interest, if he knows that he can get a certain amount of the interest, and the other folks don't want to play ball, then he'll talk to the person he's talking to who has a majority interest. He says, "Well, let me buy your interest, and we'll go to market together. I'll make a good, I'll make a good commission on it." I might be getting this wrong. I think he says, we'll take it to market. You'll get your portion, and then I just want a commission
Yeah.
in a way.
So you're talking about that deal again yesterday, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. If we were using that as an example.
Sure.
So like,
So that guy, his title is totally jacked up. So
okay.
That house is to just bring everybody up to speed. It's a house in Dallas. It's worth about 200 grand, maybe more. It's a nice 3-bedroom. It is a 1-bath though. Smaller house, like 1,300 square feet, in good shape. It was owned by a brother and sister, and they both died. They left no will, so they died intestate here in Texas. So when you die intestate, the state of Texas has a will for you. So they'll let you know, hey, where's the title going to go? So since the brother had no kids and his parents were dead, it would flow to his siblings. So I'm talking to one of the siblings. Well, that's only half of the title. The other half of the title is this guy's sister. Well, the guy's sister had 2 kids. Well, the 2 kids are estranged. Nobody knows where they're at. So the title is like totally messed up. It would flow to, the brother's half interest. It flows to his other 5 siblings, so they each inherit 10% of the house. And the sister's half interest in the house flows to her 2 kids, so they each would inherit 25%. So our goal might be to buy in at this at like say 5 cents on the dollar, very, very low, because this is a high risk deal and big attorney bills deal to try to get this thing anywhere to market. So that's just how we might play that one. And so when you heard me talking with him, he thought, the guy that we were talking to, one of the living siblings, he thought that they were going to get the whole house because the kids were estranged. He thought that they could essentially disinherit him. I'm like, well, is there a will that leaves it to you guys? Oh no, there's nothing. Okay, well then, can't do that. And he thought that this was a payday for them. They thought they were going to pick up $20,000, $30,000 a piece. Finds out, no, we're talking hundreds of dollars, maybe a grand, 1,500 a piece, something like that. Very low. And so he was not ready to do business. That was just me educating, which was showing value, which was saying, hey, I'm the expert. I know what to do here. I can take care of this if you want to, and then we'll just follow up with them over time, see if they want to do something. Any other questions though about the script itself?
Not about this script. No, it's really detailed.
Okay, awesome. Sounds like a plan.